Hi there. So really excited to put this video out. It's been on my heart. That's right, my heart, because it's something I'm very passionate about, and it's working with seniors. A lot of senior kids find me on YouTube, and then they say, you've got to meet Gail. She's the realtor for you. And you may ask, well, why are you passionate about this? Well, everybody's got a passion, right? If you're in real estate, either maybe you hate it. Who knows? Maybe you hate doing real estate and just love the money. Or maybe you like helping first-time homebuyers. Maybe you like helping have been newly divorced. I used to work in that arena. I did not like working with unhappy, miserable, vengeful people. I really love working with seniors. So I'm Gail DeMarco, and I live in St. Johns County. I moved out here 2 years ago, did 2 years of research before I moved here from California. And I followed my grandkids out here. I have 4 grandkids. No, I have 6 grandkids and 4 children. And you might say, well, what makes you the expert at working with seniors? What do you know about that? I'll tell you. I have in my hands something I was very excited about. I'm a card-carrying Medicare. That's right. I have a Medicare card. I'm 67 years old. You may say, well, you don't look like you're 67. Well, after 3 facelifts, no, just kidding. I've never had a facelift.
What?
I just had good genes. Good genes is all I can tell you. After getting my Medicare card, I just felt like, now I'm too young. Now, I had such a buildup because when you're a teenager, you can't wait till you can drive. So you're like, when I'm 16. And then when you're driving, you're like, I can't wait till I can drink. Then that's 18 in some states or 21 in others. And then all of a sudden you're like 62 and you're paying out $1,200 for crappy insurance to places like Kaiser. I felt like that. That was like the DMV over there. It was horrible, and you're paying all this money and they just aren't ever happy to see you. So a lot of people come to Florida because of the healthcare, because we have the best doctors. I think it's the best healthcare system. But I only can compare it to California. But when I talk to a lot of my clients that have moved here from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, Colorado, Texas, I feel like we're pretty darn lucky. I really want to talk about, hey, what if you're selling your home, you're relocating. A lot of people are relocating here because they have kids, maybe in Rivertown where I live, maybe in Nocatee, in different parts of St. Johns County. And you're already, in the same house, and it's overwhelming. You can't get along by yourself where you're at because either your husband passed, or maybe your husband is ill, or maybe your wife has passed, or your wife is ill, and you want to be near the kids, right? That is the only reason people in this market move. With these high interest rates, right now I'm in October of 2024, where we're close to 6%, give or take, 0.5%. So the only reason people really sell and transact in this market, we're in October 2024 with these high interest rates, almost 6%, is because of a few things. Death, maybe you lost a spouse, or maybe you have a real bad ailment and you just can't, you don't want to go in assisted living. You want to be close to the kids. Well, that speaks close to my heart because I moved my mom out here from California, and believe me, I'm her caretaker. Every night, my husband and I are there. We rotate. I get there at 5:30 and I don't leave till 9 a.m. And that's been going on for almost 8 months. 8 months where I don't get to sleep in my own house, or we don't have a normal. But guess what? My mom is with us. And if she was back in California, they'd probably have her in assisted living. And I'm going to do a whole other video on assisted living, how I kidnapped my mom out of one after 3 weeks. And it did. I wonder if I should have just left her there because she's driving me crazy. No, my mom is awesome. Can't wait to introduce you so you can meet her. But a lot of things have changed, in real estate, and that's why I'm making this video. So you just pretend you have this house. You've got a basement too, because in the East Coast, you got a lot of stuff. You got room. Everyone has a basement. You have all this stuff you need to get rid of, and you're gonna make your move down here, but you don't want to get rid of. If I tell you how many people show up with not 1, but 4 pods when they're moving out here. And then they're like, Gail, I swear, do you know a place that would want I could donate this furniture to. It's like old Ethan Allen stuff, right? It's not even like the new Ethan Allen, really colonial looking and huge pieces. Well, guess what? Things are a little bit different here. When you're moving down to Florida, you're downsizing. A big clunky piece of furniture really, really can make your home look smaller. So even though I'm not selling your home in Maryland or New York or California, I want you to understand any good realtor you hire. And if you want a referral, I do so many referrals. I mean, I've looked up everybody's production, like who are the best of the best realtors who transact, and do at least 25 million a year, who really, know their stuff. I can put you in touch with them, but I'm going to tell you the same thing they would tell you. Number one is you got to declutter. You've got to get rid of your crap. It's all right, Gail, it's not crap. This is a family heirloom, and I know my kids are going to want this, and I want to give. Well, guess what? I remember when my mom was trying to give us her Potbelly stoves. We had 3 Potbelly stoves, and they were super cool, and they actually worked in our house in Long Island. And man, it broke our heart, and we had to kind of tell her, okay, I'll take it. And guess where we took it? To Goodwill. I would take it just to get it out of her house because the realtor was begging me to get rid of them, and it would go right to Goodwill. So if you have things that you think your family wants, I don't want to hurt your feelings. They probably don't want them. There was this one house I sold, and I'll never forget. And this family looked like the Kennedy family. They had beautiful photos of them out, in this beautiful waterfront property. And it was just like a lot of black and white, gorgeous stuff and all this great stuff. And all the kids kept saying to me was, we don't care. We don't want it. Dump it. Dump it. I actually wanted to take some of the prints home because I was like, I can't throw away these memories of this person who is not related to me. I am emotionally attached to photos too, or, anything that really sparks emotion. So you really need to have somebody help you. It's hard to do it yourself. Maybe you can have one of your kids, one of the kids that does not aggravate you, the one that aggravates you the least amount, get that person. Because sometimes it just turns out worse. And then you don't want your parent coming to move closer to you because you're fighting before they even sell their house. When I go back to a lot of things have changed. Your agent, after you declutter, she may and probably will suggest that you do some staging. Right now, if you have Fido the dog and Carly the cat, sometimes people don't stage occupied homes, right? The stagers that I work with do, and I take out a little piece of insurance on it, and I don't worry about it. I really have only had one situation where it cost me $150, but who cares? At the end of the day, I got great pictures, and we really took out the old, because think about this. If you live in a community, okay, and a lot of people will move into these 55 communities and then all of a sudden they move out like within a year, and it blows my mind. And why did they do that? They need to get closer to, like here, people want to be closer to the Mayo Clinic. All of a sudden, they move here because maybe their spouse died in their old home. This actually is a true story. Back in California, she moved here just because she wanted to get away. She had a cousin here, and all of a sudden it's like, ugh. So it's one of those things where, don't make an emotional decision. If your spouse just passed, like within the last year, don't move. Don't move, because you need to be able to process. You can't run away from that heartbreak, right? You have to deal with it. And, I watched my own mom deal with it, and it took her about 15 years. Hopefully it won't take you 15 years. But it was funny because she complained about my dad every day that they were married. Every day. I was like, oh, please do not tell me about my dad. And then as soon as he died, guess what? He became a saint. It was Saint Anthony. Your father. But I'm just saying, don't make a rash decision. If you lost a spouse, just take some time, because there's no place like home. But if you're having a medical issue and you need to be close to your family, and I'll tell you, I did the same thing with my mother and my mom, and I can't wait till you all meet her. I moved her here from California, and it wasn't easy because I'm not kidding. At the airport, I'm like, Mom, why are these suitcases they weigh them? They're allowed 50 pounds. They were like 90 pounds each one. I was like, opened them up, and she had stuck in all these birdhouses and antiques. I'm like, oh my God, I was throwing them out at the airport. I was so upset with her. But, I mean, we had an agreement, and it's hard. I understand it's hard getting rid of your things. So you're going to ask, you just say you're here and I'm selling your house. So one of the things I don't use lock boxes, only because at the end of the day, I have the rules. I'm a broker, I'm a realtor, but I'm a salesperson. And if I'm not at your house for a showing, who's going to sell the community? Who's going to sell the best part about living in your home? And a lot of agents that come to like Watersong, okay, that's in Rivertown in St. Johns County. So I do a lot of business in there and in Rivertown. And agents that come show, maybe they're from Orange Park, or they're from St. Augustine down by the beach, or they're from Jacksonville. They don't know that we have 4 amazing amenity centers, and 2 of them just opened up less than 2 months ago. One of them has a splash park. The other one has a lazy river. The other one has a 7,000 square foot gym, and the other one has a 10,000 square foot gym. They don't know that we have a heated lap pool and a water slide. They don't know that we have all these amazing things that are happening. Like last night, we had an open mic, right? And I just had a gentleman move in, and I invited him to it. He plays bocce ball. There's a bocce ball contest, things like that. So if I'm not there to personally show your home, and more importantly, do you know why I like to be at all the showings? Do you know why I'm the one at the open houses? Or of course, there can't be 2 of me. My husband would kill himself if there were 2 of me. But I have like an amazing buyer's agent. So if I can't be there because I have a life, I love to spend time with my grandkids, I'm gonna have somebody from my team there. But the reason that I am there is to handle all buyer objections. Because sometimes buyer objections, you don't have a strong agent. Maybe they found that client on Zillow, and they're so desperate. Agents are so desperate for commissions right now. Luckily I'm very fortunate that I'm not rich, but I'm half Filipino. I saved a lot of money. I'm not desperate to make a transaction. I'm desperate to make my clients happy. I'm desperate to win for them. And I'm a problem solver. So buyers come in, and I will tell you, most of the buyers agents never ever even check on their buyers again, which is silly. So they'll come in and say, oh my gosh, there's water. There's water behind the house because we have a lot of retention ponds. I don't want a snake. I don't want a snake to come up and kill my dog. Seriously, this is the kind of stuff I hear. Well, I'm so used to snake fence, or, in California, I always had snake fence, and here we do snake fence as well. Or I could say I personally have lived here for 2 years, and I have a little 11-pound poodle, and my poodle goes out, and sometimes she jumps in the water, and I don't want her to be alligator food, so that happened a couple of times. But I am there to handle the objections, or they will say, oh my gosh, this is going to be so expensive to repaint. Maybe it needs paint. And I've already had that quote for the entire home. I said, I can have this entire home painted, entire inside for $6,000. And maybe I can get my seller and my seller's well aware of it. And, maybe I can get my seller to credit you that amount. Would you like to see the quote? I am always trying, and I'm a no pressure person. I'm not like, hey, can I help you today? I'm not that person. I hate that when I walk into a place and it's like, hey. So I'm there to show the property, to help the buyer understand the community, find out what's important to them. And maybe it's not my house. Maybe it is not my house that's important to them. And I'm not there to sell their houses, but at least I can read it. So if they just throw an offer at us, and I hope they don't, right? I hope the agent really discusses it with me, because here's the other thing I do differently is I've already pre-negotiated the deal before I even show it to you on paper. I've already started my negotiation as soon as the agent calls me, because I have very, very strict comments saying, don't write an offer unless you talk to me. Please call me before writing an offer. And then that's where I start. I start really reading, the buyer. I've already met the buyer, and I've already, talked to the agent a couple of times, because they'll ask me some questions. And I'll also find out who their lender is, and then I'll call that lender and I'll ask them, hey, because the last thing I want you to do as a senior, start packing, and then all of a sudden the deal falls through. When I bring you an offer, I've already vetted it, and I know that that buyer can afford it, I've talked to the lender, and I know that they want it, that they haven't written 3 other offers. I'll say things like this to the lender. Just curious, why didn't they get their last home that they offered on? So he's assuming that I know that they wrote another offer when I don't really know anything. I'm just playing poker. Thank God I don't play cards, because I probably would be dangerous. And then he'll spill guts. Oh, they came in too low, or, they could definitely afford this, because guess what? Mortgage brokers are desperate for business right now. They're even more desperate than the agents themselves. It's really, really important. I, of course, have a lockbox, and I'll just tell you, keep it in your house. God forbid I can't be there. I will tell you when to put it out. I will talk to the agent, and I will tell you that happens like once every 6 months, that I can't personally show it. I don't work the month of July. I just take that off every year for my grandkids, so somebody from my team will work it. But it's really, really important, because you got to read the buyer's objections, right? Because maybe you could turn somebody who thought something was so silly and it was a no as they're getting ready to walk out, and then I can make it a yes. And I've done that multiple times, because I'm really good at reading body language. I'm a solo agent. I'm not on a big team. I used to run a big team. I ran the #1 team in Northern California. And I've sold crazy amount of homes and transactions. And here I'm a solo agent. But when I say solo, I have 5 people on my team that I pay monthly. One is my amazing assistant, and she's great. She's been with me 12 years. She's also licensed here, in Florida. And then I have my SEO people, my marketing, my graphic designer, my social media, all that good stuff, because I like to delegate so I can elevate and spend more time one-on-one with you. When you pick up the phone, you can ask any one of my clients. I pick up the phone and I answer. I'm like, hey, I don't say I don't work after 5 o'clock. When you're a senior, you might have like sundowner syndrome like I do. I wake up really early and I go to bed really early, but I wake up about 5 times a night. Sometimes I get up at 3 and make a cup of coffee. I do. And the other thing is, the big thing is disclosures. So disclosures can be very, very confusing. There's over 20 different disclosures right now. And then, seller's disclosures. People ask me, okay, well, what do I disclose? Everything. Because if you don't, trust me, when your neighbor moves in, especially if they don't like you, like maybe they don't like your yapping poodles, and they can't wait for you to move, and you guys have a little neighbor war. A lot of people, it could be you, right? Or even if it's a great neighbor, if you've complained multiple times to them about the leak in the roof, or the noisy air conditioner, or the fact that, you have puddling at the front door, or, you try to sue the builder because there's cracks everywhere, they will tell the buyer and you will get sued. So just disclose everything. I call it the honeymoon period. Tell them about the dead body in the backyard. Tell them about the black mold in the house. I'm kidding. Unless you do have a dead body there, then you have to disclose it. I used to work in Palo Alto in California, and I remember selling a $3 million home with black mold, and it was a tear down. But we told them everything, and we always tell everything, and people don't care. When they want something, they don't care. When you're dating, right? And somebody tells you, I've got, this rotten 18-year-old granddaughter, and she's moving in with me, and you might want to run Ben, right? But they normally, people don't disclose and tell you any of that stuff until after. And then you find out about the crazy 18-year-old or the crazy ex-wife. Don't hold back anything. That was kind of random. But, that's what I'm trying to say, is if it's important to you, put yourself as the buyer. Put yourself as the buyer. If you were the buyer, would you want to know? Of course you'd want to know that, oh my gosh, when the rain comes, the gutters fill up, and because there's holes everywhere. And I'll tell you what, and that's, my other thing. We're always, I will never take a listing under any circumstances if you don't do pre-inspection. I probably started this about 7 years ago in California. People thought I was crazy. And the seller would always say, why? Why do I have to pay? And I say, you know what? It's kind of like assurance. Number one, you could take care of everything ahead of time, health and safety. And I've talked about this in other videos. But trust me, my prices never ever get pre-negotiated during the transaction. Okay, and you're a senior, you're worried about so many other things. The last thing I want to do is have you stressed out. Do your pre-inspections. If you were going to buy a used car, wouldn't you buy one with a Carfax? Wouldn't you want to know how many accidents it have, or is it accident-free? Would you be willing to pay more if you knew everything about it? So, and the disclosures can be very confusing because DocuSign, if I sent my mother, and my mother could barely answer her phone, she's like, boom, 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 I'm like, Mom, easy. She's always like, my phone is stuck. So a lot of my clients aren't very tech savvy, and that's okay because I'm the type, I love paper. I even print out 80, 100-page inspection reports. I'm the type of agent that I want to print it out. And if I can't do it with you in person, then you bet I'm going to say, you know what, Marge, let's do this. Let's have your daughter on the phone when we can both talk or get on a Zoom call. And I don't know what Zoom is. That's okay. You can have your daughter get on Zoom with me, and then you could be on the phone and we could figure this out together. Because if you don't know, and there's so many confusing, that's a whole nother video, so many confusing disclosures. I just want to make sure they're filled out right. That's the first thing we do before we even get on the market. I'm always surprised. Like I just went into an open house right after mine today, and they just print the disclosures out and put it right there. And she also put out what the commission is that they're paying the buyer. Well, number one, if you are worried about your neighbors coming in and you don't live in a newer home and there are disclosures, why would you want to even have all that out there right then and there? And she had the home inspection and nothing was fixed on the home inspection. So it was like these pictures were awful. It just showed like pictures of insulation with rat poop, and it had, cracks that looked like earthquake cracks, in the sidewalk. I wouldn't put any of that out. The whole purpose of an open house or showing your home is to get people to buy in emotionally, not start going through paperwork and start freaking out. Because at the end of the day, why would you put an inspection report out there if you're not going to fix health and safety? I'm not telling you to reseal the pool or not telling you to fix everything on that list, but things that are important. And for me, as your agent, I'm going to make a bulletproof. And I'm like, you know what, Marge? Here's the things that are going to really worry a buyer. Let's take this crazy, crazy inspection report and turn it into a marketing piece, right? And then this way, when we get an offer, they feel good about it. They're not going to negotiate in the middle of the transaction. Even if they do their own inspection and find more stuff, they're not going to say, you know what? We didn't know about this. And this is a material fact. And, we're out of here, because your only chance to get a great offer is right out of the gate, your first 2 weeks. And, which brings me to the other thing, price. Are you pricing your home right? Or are you going to start here? Well, Gail, you know what? We can always negotiate down. No, you don't negotiate down, because guess what? It doesn't work that way. It does not. You don't just throw pasta at the ceiling with your price and hope when it falls down, you catch the market. And look at it this way. Don't try to time the market. You will lose. You will absolutely lose. So, at the end of the day, you cannot, sell high and buy low, right? So if you sell low, you're going to buy low. If you sell high, you're going to buy high. So, it's really, a mind shift. It's a different market, people. It's a way different market. It's right before the elections. Who knows what's going to happen? This is going to be real interesting, especially here in Florida and California. So, everybody's hoping that the elections are going to change everything and the interest rates. And I do think something is definitely going to happen. So, for me, one of the things I really stress when I'm talking to, my Golden Girl Club is wire fraud. So none of my, oops, these are wooden beads. None of my clients have ever, I'm not smacking them, I'm kidding, I'm knocking on them. None of my clients, oh, here's a wooden bowl. None of my clients have ever been sued. I don't ever want you to get sued as one of my clients. So, at the end of the day, none of my clients have ever had wire fraud, and I don't want you to have wire fraud. So I always tell people, when it comes time to wiring, you're going to get me on the phone, and we're going to talk to the title company together. I will never, ever send you an email saying wire anything here. Even when the title company sends it to you, you're going to get me on the phone. We're going to have a three-way phone call. You are not going to get scammed. Your money's not going to end up in Nigeria or, some kind of crazy place and being devastated at this age in your life. I won't allow it. There's no possible way. The other thing that is super, super important is our communication. So anything important, I'm gonna get on the phone and I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna go like, hey, Marge, I have this information, or here's what's gonna happen, or I'm gonna be at your house and I'm gonna be doing a showing, or, you know, we got an offer, or hey, there was a counter offer, or there's a request, I gotta inspect. It's going to be a conversation. I'm not gonna be going, you know, I'm not going to be texting you because I'm not gonna take the chance that you're a texter. Like my mom does not text. Even on my mom's voicemail, I have a message that says, do not under any circumstances leave a message, because Shirley doesn't check her voicemail. Shirley can barely remember how to hit accept. And it's true. Can't wait to introduce you to my mom. I'm gonna bring her in on the next part of the video and have her tell you what it was like when she was selling her home in California and when she was buying a home here. So you can hear from the mouth of Shirley, and she's got a mouth. So thank you so much for going down the road with me with this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it answered some questions. I know it's like a lot. It's overwhelming, you know, because it's never like, hey, I think I'm just gonna move. This is gonna be great. It's always kind of a life change that has brought you to the decision at this age that you're going to move. Who wants to move? Nobody. Nobody wants to move. You know, my only mission is to make it as seamless, and I know it sounds cliche, as seamless and stress-free, you know, as possible. And I will treat you like you're my mom, or you're my dad, or if you're my age, my sister or my brother, like family, that's all. I'm gonna treat you like I really care about you, because I will care about you. We won't just, if it's not a good fit, we're not gonna work together. I adopt a lot of my clients and all of my very, very good friends. So don't let it scare you from working with me. Don't let it scare you. A lot of my clients become my very good friends. I am always here for you, but more importantly, I'm even here for you after the transaction. I don't just kick it into the curb and say, see ya. You know, it's important that the move you make, and maybe you're, you know, a son or a daughter, and you're wanting to have your parents move here, or your mom or your dad, or a sister or brother, you know. And if you want me to get on a call with them, I'm happy to get on a call with them. I love living here. I feel like St. Johns County. When people go, Gail, how do you like, you know, compared to California, how do you like it here? You know what? I feel like I won the lotto. I absolutely do. I feel like I won the lotto, except for, you know, July, August. I feel like I'm in a prison camp. That's my bad hair months. You know, when I say that, because I'm always sweating. But I will tell you, I think it's great for my skin, terrible for my hair. It's great for my pocketbook because it's a lot less expensive to live here. When people ask me, hey, you know, Gail, how do you like living here? People ask me that all the time. I've had 4 families move here from, you know, retiring couples move here from California because we have no state income tax. And just the cost of living is so much better. And besides that, people are just really, really friendly here. And even when my brothers and sisters come to visit, they're like, is everybody this nice? I'm like, kind of feels that way. So, you know, I have no doubt that whoever you're looking for to move, whether it's you or somebody you really love, that this will be a great move for them. So if you want more information, I would love you to just give me a call, 904-640-8000. Check out my YouTube channel, my other YouTubes. I'm trying to get some subscribers here. If you could just like and subscribe my channel, that would mean a lot to me. And looking forward to the next video where I bring my mom on. Get ready.